Hi, welcome to Fitzdog Radio. I'm happy you've joined me today. My guest Laurie Kilmartin will be on later on. It's kind of a late St. Patrick's Day for us. I like having my Irish friends on. Laurie's great. We'll talk about Laurie in a minute. Let's talk about me for a second. Holy mother of God. I'm doing some live dates. I'm excited. I've only got 2, and then I got to call my agent. We got to set up some more. We were kind of feeling it out, but we're going to be in Philly this weekend, 22nd to the 24th of April at Helium Comedy Club, my second favorite club in the country. And then at the Comedy Club in Kansas City the week after that, whatever those dates are, weekend of April. Go to fitzdog.com for tickets. But I'm excited. I got both my shots. These clubs are known for being safe, and I think we're going to be all right. We just had my first poker game with my boys. I've been playing with the same guys for about 15 years, and we didn't play poker during the pandemic. And then about 6 of us have had both shots and waited 2 weeks. And my friend owns an art gallery, so we go to his art gallery and order some pizza. Everybody brings some junk food. Pot is smoked. Whiskey is drank. And we look at his art. He's got a new installation, which is beautiful. We looked at the paintings, played poker for about 4 hours, and shot the shit. It was good. It felt good to be back. Everybody was kind of jubilant. It was kind of exciting. And I lost about $15, but then I won 28 on the golf course this morning. So things even out, people. Stay with your gambling addiction. It all works out. And 2 of the guys, Josh and Greg, were not invited. We told them they've only had 1 shot each, and we're being cautious. We're not fucking around. And so we said on the email that they couldn't come. And so we were leaving the gallery. We were wrapping it up, and we went outside. And Josh and Greg had a card table set up in the parking lot outside the gallery. And they had some scotch and cards and snacks and a pizza. And they were playing their own game of cards, waiting for us to stumble on them. That was the joke. And we laughed our fucking asses off. I mean, that's commitment. That's the kind of commitment we're looking for. So anyway, things are moving forward. Let's hope things are moving forward. Who knows what's going on with this crazy shit? I spent a lot of time talking to people this week, like a lot of hour and a half long conversations with people that I'm talking off the ledge. I've got some friends, family that are having a hard time. And why is it that the comedian with ADHD and depression is the guy that is the stable one to talk to? But I'm happy to do it. I feel blessed that I have had the resources in my life to make me more stable, that I do have pre-existing conditions that would make me unhappy or angry or whatever, and I've worked them out, and I like very much to share them with people and remind people that it's about the moment. If you start getting freaked out about shit, just stop, do some breathing. 4 slow breaths in, hold it for 4 beats, 4 breaths out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it for 4. 4 in. Do that for about a minute and a half. Trust me, right out of the gate, you're 50% better. And then start working your way towards some meditation, little exercise. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. We're all going to die. I literally remind myself of that all the time. I'm going to die. And then nothing seems that important. Not that sounds kind of fatalistic, and it sounds sort of, I don't know, dark, but in a way it lets you live in the moment because that's all you got. That's all you got, people. What kind of podcast is this? What am I, fucking Anthony Robbins? Oh, Go jump in cold water and then do push-ups for 3 hours. Fuck you, Tony Robbins. Relax. How about this? Watch Netflix and smoke a joint. Relax. You fucking nut. Alpha male. What else we want to talk about? Let's get into it. We got a good show. We got a good interview I want to get to. Nicknames. Had some people write in some good nicknames. Jason Johnston said, I had a friend in college whose name was Mike Babier, Babier. Our college created email addresses with the last name and the first initial. So his was Babier, Babier M at whatever his college is. I'm not going to say .edu. So we called him Baby Arm because it basically spells baby arm. He didn't complain, and that was his nickname, Baby Arm. It's fucking great. Clark Lemieux, this kid I used to work with was named Aaron White. His nickname evolved over the course of one summer. It went from Whitey to White Snake to Snake Boots to Boots, then Booties, and finally Baby Booties, all because his last name was White. Yeah, that's how it should go. You know, it should be a bunch of people sitting around, busting your balls. Your name evolves, and look at Puff Daddy. Was that his first name? I think his first name was Puff Daddy, and then it was P Diddy, and then it was Diddy, and then I should look it up. I'm gonna look up the evolution of Puff Daddy's name. Evolution of Puff Daddy. All right, I could have probably done this before it started. Okay. He says, I will not be answering to Puff, Diddy, Puff Daddy, or any of my other monikers, but Love or Brother Love. There you go. Love or Brother Love. Don't forget he was born Sean John Combs. So his new name is Sean Love Combs, and that's what he wants to be called. So if you run into him on the street, call Puff Daddy or Diddy or P. Diddy, just call him Love. That's nice. Is that like Metta World Peace, who was one of the most violent basketball players in the NBA? Then he changed his name to Metta World Peace. Still got into fights. Yep. Matt Arpin said, vodka-loving fraternity brother with the last name Mo. Nickname, Ron, as in Mo Ron. Okay? Also, an old-timers hockey teammate from Czechoslovakia tried to nickname himself the Czech. Instead, hockey team went with Coco. If you don't remember, Coco was George Costanza's nickname on Seinfeld because he tried to get a nickname. He wanted to be called T-Bone at his office, and the coworkers they called another guy T-Bone instead of him. And then his boss saw him; he was eating a banana and gesturing wildly, and so they started calling him Coco after Coco the was it a gorilla or an orangutan? I don't know. I had friends who had nicknames, and I haven't really gotten into them very much. But maybe I'll tell you a couple of them. My town was big on nicknames. And these two guys, the first ones I think of, these two guys, one name was named Dito. He was a Spanish guy. And that's the thing is when I grew up, you said Spanish. You didn't say Latino, Latina X, Latin, Chicano, Hispanic. None of that stuff was said. And I'm not denigrating that. If people want to update their monikers and their nationalities should be called, that's fine. I'm on board. I'll try to keep up. If you come up with an app, that would help me. If there's an app where I can plug in Cuban woman who's gay and you let me know what to call her, I will fucking do it. I'm not fighting it. I can't fight it anymore. But this guy who was Spanish, his name was Dito, and the other kid's name was Dave, and they were both, Dave was really a weird-looking dude. There could have possibly been birth defect, Head was misshapen, and we called him Strange Dave. And then Dido we called Deeds, and these guys were inseparable, so we called him Strange Dave and Deeds, which at the time there was a hit song from John Lennon called Strange Days Indeed. And it sounded just like that, and it was kind of poetic. There was another guy who was also looked birth defected. Not to say I didn't hang out with the best looking group, but we called this guy Herman because he looked like Herman Munster. He had giant dark bags under his eyes, mostly because he did angel dust almost every day. He had this yellow paneled station wagon, and he would drive down to the Bronx in the afternoon, and he would purchase angel dust, and then he would drive home, and you would often just see his car parked on the side of a road or under a bridge or near a park, and he would be passed out from drugs. And we used to drive around with him, and he had a rule, no more than 6 people in his car. Because we would just we were teenagers, and we would just fucking pile around. And he was driving around whacked down on angel dust. And his sister was voted best looking in a pretty large high school. And she was great girl. I took her to the prom. She was my prom date. And she was very normal. Partied a lot of fun. But it was very weird that they were in the same family. They lived in the projects in the next town over, and so they were pretty tough. But I think she did well in school. She reached out to me recently on social media. I kind of didn't figure it out. Didn't figure out how to connect, but I got to try to do that. There was a kid another Spanish kid I was friends with named Mike the Bug. His real name was Mike Cambero. We called him Mike the Bug because he looked like a bug. And that's the cruelest kind of a nickname, I think. And again, not to knock the looks of my friends growing up. We were not the best looking group of kids, perhaps, but good hearts. That's all that matters. And Mike the Bug was, I remember he used to yell at his mom a lot, which was weird because I was raised with such fucking respect for mom. You didn't raise your voice to your mom. And he used to fucking scream at her. It was weird. So another kid named Chris, and he was a weird kid, and his nickname was Twitch because he had a little twitch. And what happened was there was a girl that when I was in about 8th grade, it was Halloween, no, maybe 7th grade. It was Halloween, and we used to go out trick-or-treating, and we would dress up, mostly as bums, again, today you'd say I dressed as a homeless person, and then people will go, no, you shouldn't. You shouldn't dress up as a homeless person. But we did, but they were called bums. And so we were running around, and somebody sprayed shaving cream. We used to take aerosol tops and put them on shaving cream cans, and we'd spray them at each other, and we would throw eggs at each other. And so somebody sprayed me in the eyes. And I was fucking pissed because it hurt. So I chased this guy down and dressed as a bum, tackle him from behind. He's on his back, and I'm punching him in the face. And then people are pulling me off, and they were like, dude, it's a fucking girl. You're hitting a girl. And I didn't realize it was a girl who dressed up as a bum. And I had struck her. And so I just kind of ran away, and then she found out who I was. She lived in the next town over, different next town over than Herman. Then I found out we would go skating at the lakes. There was some lakes that would freeze in the winter, and we would go skate on them. And they had floodlights on telephone poles around the lake, and a heated shack where you could change your skates, and you could buy a hot dog and some hot chocolate. And they had skate attendants. They would have guys that skate around and make sure nobody was getting in trouble. And so we were at the lakes. We would go at night, and they'd play AM radio, Fleetwood Mac, pop, whatever was pop hits back in probably around 1980. And this girl I found out had a crush on me. The girl that I had hit had a crush on me. And I thought, how fucked up is her home life? Here's a little snapshot into her family life. She crushes on a guy who hit her. Jesus. So anyway, I'm talking to her. I'm flirting with her. I'm figuring I don't know how to throw a move on a girl like this. I can't throw the same move I did the first time I met her. That would be wrong. And so as I'm standing talking to her, Twitch, this guy Chris comes skating up and barrels into me as hard as he can, skating full speed, knocks me on my back. I crack my head. I'm winded. I can't get up. Takes me a while to get up. And he skates away. And so the next week, I start saying to people, how about Chris? About the way he fucking twitches. And then I just started saying, you guys see Twitch? Where's Twitch? And that name stuck like fucking tar. Stuck to him like tar. And his name all through high school was Twitch because of me. Because he fucking leveled me. And guess who this girl suddenly had a crush on? That's right, Twitch. The guy that had physically assaulted me, now she liked him. Whatever happened to her? Anyway, we'll get to some other friends' nicknames on the very next episode of Fitzdog Radio. You can't wait, can you? It's going to be fun. All right, let's get into my interview. By the way, Bitcoin, and I've been debating whether to get into Bitcoin. Some people say it's bad too because it's immoral. A lot of illegal activity is funded with Bitcoin, like, I don't know, international sex trading, drugs, hits that people put on each other, a lot of Russian black market shit. Anyway, I think that it's become bigger than that. But then I found out that, quote, we are now spending more electricity mining Bitcoin than is produced by all the world's solar panels combined. So we have eliminated all the progress that we made on green energy just through Bitcoin use. And I researched this. I go, that sounds crazy. But apparently the amount of computer power and processing it takes to maintain this Bitcoin, whatever you call blockchain system, is immense. And it equals the amount of electricity that Norway uses on a daily basis. So that's something to consider as you watch yourself not make money on Bitcoin because it just keeps going up. Oh. What are we going to do? Work for a living? I don't want to do that shit. All right, my guest, Laurie Kilmartin, who I just spoke to earlier. She is the author of Shitty Mom, which was a New York Times bestseller. She's got a new book out called Dead People Suck. And great comic, really well respected. She's done it on Conan, Jimmy Kimmel. She was on Comedy Central, on a bunch of different shows. Best Week Ever, which I used to do on VH1. She was on Rachel Maddow as well as Fox and Friends. So she's political. She can be political. She was on Oprah Winfrey. She was a top 10 finalist on Last Comic Standing, which I don't respect that. I don't think anyone should do that show. She's been on many lists of top comedians. Oh, she wrote, and she's a big writer. She's been writing on Conan for 11 years. She wrote on Tough Crowd with Colin Quinn, and on and on and on and on. Very successful, very cool person. Here's my chat with the great Laurie Kilmartin. I'm welcoming my guest right now, a fellow Hibernian, another Irish woman.
Athenian,
a papist, as the Protestants would call us. Laurie Kilmartin, what's happening?
Yeah, nothing much. I was just on my breast reduction Reddit subreddit, I guess, and just checking out things to buy for my surgery. I'm pretty excited, Greg.
Yeah, when is that?
It's in 10 days.
Wait, hold on. I'm going to undo this. 10 days, and then you're going to go, what size are we looking at? You going to a C?
I'm trying to get to a small C. I think that'd be perfect for my my body size, and then, yeah. Are you okay?
Hold on, my cord is all fucked up. Hold on a second. My producer will edit this out.
No, I insist to be left in. It's actually very suspenseful.
All right, there we go. Sorry.
Yeah.
So you said you're going to what size?
I hope a small C.
Small C? Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's something that a friend of ours just did. And she had back problems from lugging those things around her whole life.
Yeah.
Did you get that?
Yes, I do have them now, and they're heavy, and I'm hunching over all the time. And yeah. So is she happy?
Yes, she's very happy. It went really smoothly. And I just saw a documentary about a girl. She was a child actress. It's a great documentary, and she was very cute. She had like on a hit sitcom. She had all these young friends. It was kind of a documentary about like the 90s and being a child star in the 90s.
Was it Punky Brewster?
Yes.
Yeah. I haven't seen that. Does that include
It's amazing. And it's all about her hitting puberty, and she developed these enormous boobs, and it kept her from getting work because everybody associated her with being, a kid. And so she wasn't getting roles. She felt like people were looking at her as a sex object, even though she was only like 13 or 14 years old.
Ooh.
And so she got the breast reduction, and it changed her life.
Oh, that's cool. How old was she when she got it?
I think she was like 17 or so. Yeah,
Cool.
like 17.
That's good.
Yeah, but what a world these kids live in, when you're a child star and all of a sudden you're like 16, 17, you have access to drugs and cars and mansions. And it was.
I just finished watching season 1 of the other 2. It's on HBO Max now. Have you seen it?
No, what's that?
It centers on a 13-year-old child star. His mother is played by Molly Shannon. And he has 2 older siblings that aren't stars, and they sort of are part of his team. And they're all trying to adjust to this new 13-year-old's fame, and people, sexually fantasizing about their very baby brother. And it's really, really funny. It's great.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
There was another documentary about. I've been very into documentaries lately. I'm kind of. I watch too many heavy dramas, like a lot of the Oscar films. I try to catch up on, and as always, they're always like the heaviest ones.
Yeah.
And so I got into some fun documentaries, and there's one about. No! This is an article I read about JoJo. The little child star JoJo. She's like a.
Yeah, I see her trending. I haven't investigated. She's gay or bisexual, right?
She is. Yes, she is. I think pansexual.
Okay, and she has like a Christian fan base. Is that right?
Somewhat, yeah. Because she came up on one of those dancing shows where your mom tortures you, and then everybody feels good judging you.
Yeah, Dance Moms, probably, right?
Yeah, I think it was Dance Moms. And then she got very into, what do you call it when you attach little silver pieces of metal to everything?
Oh, glitter? Wait, I don't know what that is.
Glitter. It's like little like punch.
Oh, bedazzled?
Yeah, they do a lot of bedazzling. Everything I have is bedazzled.
Yes.
And then she wears a big bow, and her hair is to the side, and she's adorable. And she sings and dances, and she's a very lovely girl, but she does have a very conservative following. And so when she came out as gay, there was an uproar, and she lost a ton of fans, which I respected. She knew she would. Yeah. And she came out anyway. And her mom is very supportive. And I asked my daughter about her, because my daughter's name is JoJo.
Oh, yeah.
And she has no time for her, but she does respect her.
Well, yeah, that is a little unnerving when someone else has your name and they are notorious for no matter what the reason. Like, you feel like you should own your name. And I think there's room for just one JoJo, and it's Fitzsimmons. That's how I stand. Yeah,
I think she's been really good about her branding. And, and she She's also a Josephine if she feels like it. We go into certain situations when there's more adults, and she'll be like, "Dad, call me Josephine."
Is that a family name?
Yeah, it was my wife's aunt Jo in the Bronx.
Cool. It's a great name.
It's a great name, and she's a Josephine who they just called her Jo, but she was born in Throgs Neck. My wife and I were born in the same neighborhood in the Bronx, and our mothers went to the same high school in the Bronx together.
Oh my God. I think I remember you saying this on a podcast. Yeah. That's so crazy.
Yeah. So Aunt Jo was born in this house, and it's like an Archie Bunker house. It's got the steps up front, and it's like a double decker. And she was born physically in the house. She still lives in it at 94.
No.
Never lived anywhere else. Never had a boyfriend. She's like this. She's not racist, but when you live in the Bronx or certain parts of Philly or certain parts of Boston, everybody is identified by like, yeah, the Dominican guy in the corner helped me start my car, and the colored guy brought over some tomatoes for me. Yeah. It's hilarious.
Yeah, it's a way of speaking. You can't probably expect them to drop once they pass 90. Does she still do the stairs? Like she's okay on the stairs and stuff?
She's a tough old broad. She's in great shape.
Amazing.
She works her garden in the backyard and, walks. It's like one of those neighborhoods that's still, there's a butcher, there's a grocer, there's a baker. You go to each shop and, you get your stuff and, the Italian ice shop. And it's such a cool neighborhood. It's really, it's still pretty intact. It's very diverse, but it's still safe. It's like a really nice part of the Bronx. Where did you grow up?
Walnut Creek, California. So did you ever work the Punchline?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So I a couple miles from there.
Is that the first place you did stand-up?
No, Foo Bars, which was this other place in Concord. Did you ever work Foo Bars?
No.
It might have been closed or whatever by the time you started working the West Coast, right? But it was it moved locations a few times, but now the location it used to be is now I think an evangelical church.
Perfect.
Yeah.
If they only knew.
All the stool humping that went on the stage that their pastor preaches from. Yes.
The old stool hump. That was always a closer. You don't open with the stool hump. You save it.
Don't. The stool humpers never featured. Not for too long. Like maybe they featured 1 or 2 weeks and they immediately bumped up to headliner.
Yeah, it's the fast pass to headlining.
That you just got to cover the other 42 minutes and then you're good.
It's like, you have this grenade on your belt but you got a knife fight first for a while.
Yes, exactly.
So I was just reading People magazine and, my wife works in a podiatrist's office.
Okay.
And so they have a waiting room with magazines, but since they don't have anyone in the waiting room anymore, I've asked her to steal the People for me every week. And I'm a smart guy.
Right.
I'm well educated.
Yeah.
I come from a very political family.
Yeah.
I cannot fucking put down People magazine.
Yeah, especially when they go royal family. But oh yeah, what's happening in there? Who's that lady with the brunette?
This one?
Yes.
That's Miss Peregrine. I didn't read that one. Her name is Missy Peregrine. But no, the big news on this page is I'm going to ask you to guess the headline. You're a comedy writer.
Okay.
And I'm going to ask you to guess this headline. Or not even the headline, but what's a phrase that they use in it? Macaulay Culkin had a baby with his longtime girlfriend, Brenda Song. He's overjoyed. The headline is?
No longer home alone, or no?
Fucking word for word.
What?
Word for word.
What? Oh my God. Oh my God.
Isn't it amazing when you think about what occupations you could go into if you weren't a comedian?
If it was Guild, I would seriously look into headline writing for People. I need to get my health insurance credits.
No, the best was the New York Post headlines. I don't know if you follow those at all.
I haven't. I mostly just look at page 6 for stories. I don't really necessarily look at the headlines though.
There was one when Ike Turner died. The headline was something like Ike beats Tina to the grave or something.
Yes, yeah. I remember that. That was a classic.
Yeah.
And then there was wasn't it? Maybe this is the San Francisco one, but it was headless body found in topless bar. It was
I remember that.
A headed stripper.
Yeah.
May she rest in peace. But what a contribution to pop culture, that headline.
Yeah, there was a bar in a strip club near my house in New York, down on, I think it was on like 26th and 8th, and it was called Billy's Topless.
Yeah.
And then Giuliani came in and he cleaned up the city, and he closed down a bunch of stuff in Times Square and the sex shops. And they decided that you couldn't have the name Topless on a strip club. Mm. And so Billy took the apostrophe off the Billy's. He covered it in. So, and they said, no, it's called Billy Stop Less. and they went with it. They're like, all right, that's fine.
What a tribute to Billy.
Yeah.
Headlines find a way. Storefronts find a way.
Yeah. The other thing is it says Chrissy Teigen, who I know you're a fan of.
Yeah, I like her. I like Chrissy Teigen.
I see you on Twitter celebrating everything Teigen, and she is back on Twitter. She took a break.
She did.
Yes, she took a break. She's back. She missed it, and her hair is now pink, and it looks fantastic.
Good. I do think writers and comedy people should take a break from Twitter, because we are giving it our energy and sometimes our best stuff, and we don't give it to ourselves. Right. But if you're a model, you're not giving, you should be on Twitter all day long. Nothing you give Twitter can be used anyplace else. So just enjoy yourself.
It's true. Like when I use Twitter, I usually, before I go on stage, if I haven't been writing, I'll look at I used to. I don't write on Twitter much anymore, but I used to write more jokes. And before I would go on stage, I would go to my Twitter account and I would look at tweets. And most of them were like the germs of a joke. And then I would just go on stage and I would try to riff off of whatever the tweet was.
I have never done that before. That's smart. I should try that.
So you just separate. If you write it on Twitter, that's just it. That's where it stays.
Yeah, I shouldn't though, because sometimes that is a germ of something, but it always feels reactive to a very tiny moment. But some of the best comedy comes from very tiny moments. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I think you could probably tell if you get a lot of response to a tweet, you kind of know maybe you hit a vein with that one. Yeah. Usually good responses to tweets are like the tweet is a little arch, about racial justice. It's never anything that's going to translate to like a Friday Late Show. That's what I find.
Right. Do not bring up race on the Friday Night Late Show, because they feel strongly one way or the other. I don't want to crowd.
Usually it's just one way.
Yeah. Right.
It's not the other.
Yeah, I did it wasn't a late show, but it was like a Roadhouse gig in Rhode Island when I was like, probably 3 years into doing stand-up, and I met this girl, and she was a Guidette from Revere, Mass, which is like the, it's like the Brooklyn, it's like the Bensonhurst, Brooklyn of Boston.
Gotcha.
So she picks me up in her Corvette. She's got a Corvette. And we drive down, and we're listening to disco pretty loud in her Corvette, and we get to this gig in the middle of nowhere in Rhode Island. It was like a roadhouse.
Yeah.
And we go in. And I had a joke about, remember back then people would put signs in their car, no radio in car, so you didn't smash the window and steal the radio. And I did a joke about that. And then somebody yells out, it was probably, and he said the N-word.
Oh God.
And I stopped and I went, what did you just say? And the Guidette that I was with goes, He said it was probably an N-word. And I was like, I gotta drive home with you.
I love her interpretation of why you stopped the show. Oh, I guess he didn't hear it properly. There'd be no other reason for him to react this way.
Yeah. I drove him here. I figured maybe I'll also help him with the audience.
Oh, man. Who knew the Portuguese were so racist?
Yeah, actually, Rhode Island is very Portuguese.
Yeah.
You know that?
Yeah. And I think Portugal was like a very early colonizer. So, they kept it in their blood for sure.
There's a show that's on HBO Max also called Exterminate
All the Brutes. I just watched it. It's great.
Holy shit. When they showed Africa carved up, the Europeans basically had a meeting and they went, you take South Africa, you take Nigeria. Like literally they just showed the countries that took which it was like they had no sense of human beings living in Africa. It was just the minerals and the mining, and that they were going to use them as slaves to mine their own fucking land. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was. I didn't know Germany was so involved in all that. I kind of more thought it was Spain and I guess Dutch. In Africa, the Dutch and France and England, but Germany had this big chunk, just grabbed a bunch of land near South Africa and said, this is ours.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy. That show you need to watch a couple Curb Your Enthusiasms or something after it before you go to bed, because I try to avoid white guilt. I'm trying to engage with this whole Black movement that's happening now in a way of I'm reading a lot. Yeah. I read a great novel called The Underground Railroad that you should read if you get a chance.
Oh, is that Colson Whitehead?
Yes.
Yeah, I got to read. I don't have it, but I got to read it. It's it's in my head.
So I'm reading a lot of stuff and watching movies that I think can inform me. But if you want to avoid white guilt, you might want to avoid this, because it lays it out pretty in your face.
It does. But it's, even maybe last year when people would say abolish the police, I'm like, guys, come on now, you can't, but now it's like, are they an interconnected group of terrorists that are just running parts of our country? Is that, it just almost seems like they all know each other. They all use the same tactics. And I guess I thought they were, maybe I grew up with this Andy Griffith idea of what the police were and what a police department was. Yeah. And, they've all got, lots of them have military gear from Iraq. And I don't know, if you look at what's happening in Minneapolis, it's, it's like an occupied city. Yeah. And it's like, could that happen? Is Burbank next? Or, maybe not next, but just the threat of that looming over you, maybe we should start, if those of us who have not been hassled by cops or anything like that, it doesn't mean it's not going to happen. And maybe it's worse than it looks from our point of, obviously it's worse than it looks like from our point of view, but I don't know. It's the past couple of days have just been horrendous.
Well, it's gotta be. Now, how old is your son?
14 Latino. So I didn't even watch that footage of the 13-year-old being shot with the hands up, but I'm just like, I don't want to live here. Sometimes I just want to crawl just away to another country and just kidnap my son and take him someplace else, Right. That's pretty intense to think about, sending your son out into a city that, things happen very fast and very violently sometimes with the police. And do you talk to him about how to behave in terms of he's too young to drive, but how to behave if he's approached by police? I think I haven't necessarily done it yet. We did have the cops sent to our house because of my son's YouTube channel when he was 10. So he already thinks they're stupid.
Wait, what happened with his YouTube channel?
I have a bit about this, but he had a video where he ended it by putting a finger gun to his temple and going like that. And so they sent 3 police officers to my house to investigate the situation.
No shit.
Yeah.
Really?
But he had just watched, I guess that's a thing in Scott Pilgrim Saves the Universe.
Oh,
world,
yeah,
I forget.
yeah.
But
Right.
so he had just watched that and was like, just replaying it. And so anyway, he already thinks they're dumb. So I guess
that'd
we
be
do
so
have to,
funny if they show up for that reason and you open the door and they all have their guns drawn.
put the hand down.
Yeah, put the hand down.
Yeah.
And then Ciara and Russell Wilson just celebrated their 6 years since the day they met. And
Okay.
I mean, is that a thing? Celebrating the day you met or how long you've been dating, is that a thing?
I hope not. I celebrate the day I break up. That's the only day I celebrate in any relationship. But I think they're Christians, and maybe was she a virgin? I don't know if he was, but it was just like one of those. It felt like an arranged Christian marriage or something,
Yeah, and Russell, I believe, is getting traded, isn't he, from Seattle?
Now that I would have no idea.
Oh, you don't know about football?
No, I don't really follow it. No.
Did you see that Madonna, this is all out of People magazine this week.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that Madonna did a rare selfie with Lourdes Leon?
Lourdes? Yeah,
Lourdes.
I did see it. Her daughter looks so much like her. It's astonishing.
She does. Yeah.
She's like a tall version of her mom.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of big shadows to grow up under. That's got to be one of the biggest. She is beyond an entertainer. She's like a cultural icon.
She is, but almost maybe that makes it a little easier because she's so impossible to follow that you're like, all right, I can't even deal with you. Versus, I don't know, Hank Williams Jr. Well, I don't know, maybe that's not a good example either, but somebody that's like pretty good, say George Bush, and then George Bush Jr., right? Like that president wasn't that successful, so that cursed the rest of the Bush boys, and so yeah,
right. No, I think was there an older Harry Connick, or did he just use Junior because he was a singer?
I think there was, and he was maybe mildly successful. I love Roy Woods Jr. because I think his dad has nothing to do with show business. He just wants everyone to know that his dad was Roy Woods Sr. So Roy Woods puts the junior at the end of his name. I love it. Yeah.
I think if you're Madonna's kid, if you're somebody that big's kid, you either have to go all in. You have to be like the Will Smith and Jada Pinkett's kids and just go all in.
Yeah.
And ride it. Or you have to become like the problem kid that just kind of like Beau Biden. You got to Beau Biden it otherwise.
Yeah. The thing with like the Jaden and Willow is that both their parents are like heavy in show business. And I think Lourdes was lucky because her dad is just sort of like this not famous dancer. And she spent a lot of time with him. And so I think she was able to see her mom through other people's eyes just because she got to spend time with regular people that weren't around her mother.
Are you friends with any comedians whose parents were famous comedians?
I don't know. I can't think of it off the top of my head. Do people have secretly famous comedian parents?
Well, there's Richard Pryor has a daughter that does stand up. I don't know her.
I know her a little bit, like maybe more through Twitter. We have the same birthday, but I've never hung out with her. I don't think maybe we've been on 1 or 2 shows together, but I couldn't even confirm that. Rain Pryor.
I'm good friends with Kelly Carlin, who's George Carlin's daughter. But
she
doesn't do stand up, but she's a really sharp podcaster, author.
Playwright. I saw her show at the theater in Burbank. I think it's the Gary Marshall now, but it was something else then. It was great. It was really great.
And then Andy Dick's son is doing stand up.
He's funny.
He is funny. Yeah, he's a goof. He's a goof.
I don't know. I don't think my son would be attracted to stand-up comedy. I don't think he's more of he wants to be an animator, but it is weird how that, I think if you grow up around people
he's into anime, right? Like Japanese anime.
Yeah. Maybe you grow up with somebody that's always writing jokes or something. You do learn economy of words as you're growing up, just because that's the way things are spoken in your house. I don't know. And this is a rambling answer, so maybe I'm voiding what I just said. But that's that. Andy Dix, is his name Luke?
Yeah, Luke.
Okay, yeah.
No,
the
Lucas.
one time I saw him, I'm like,
yeah.
this guy's really good. I didn't realize he was Andy's son till later.
Yeah, and who else? There's there's the Waynes. The Waynes have a couple kids.
Right. Yeah.
Into it.
Shantae, I know.
Who?
Shantae, their daughter.
Okay. Is she funny?
Yeah, she is funny. I think she's grown up around so many boys. That's got to be tough,
right?
Because they seem very macho, in a way. Yeah.
Yeah. I think they're a super tight family, though. Like,
yeah.
I remember I had Damon on my podcast once, and he said like every Sunday there's a get together.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah,
that's
the whole family comes together. Yeah, Jesus, roll the cameras on that reality show.
Oh my God.
Would be great.
Oh my God. Yeah. I would hope my son wouldn't need to do stand-up, because it requires so much stage time, especially at the first 10 years, that you really have to need to make it work to do it. And I would hope that he's been given enough emotional support where he doesn't feel like he's got to do that for 10 years.
Yes. I would rather my kids got into improv than stand-up comedy.
100%, because they learn to work with other people.
Yeah.
Every television show, every comedy that's written, all I see is improv names. All I see are people that came out of Chicago. Tina Fey's entire empire, it seems like, started with her at Second City.
Yeah.
For
Key
sure.
and Peele and all those people. I think it teaches you to write. I think there's a lot of directions you can go. Like all those guys from the state all ended up like David Wayne is like this huge director now. Yeah. And they've all had interesting careers. I did improv in college, and then we stayed together after college a little bit, but I just couldn't hack the money. I mean, chopping it up 5 ways and
oh my God.
No, I can't do that. Yeah.
I didn't like sharing the stage. And that's a problem in my personal life as well. And it goes beyond comedy, but I do feel like comics are a certain personality that it doesn't really work great with improv.
Right. And also, I mean, you're somebody that is pretty honest about their life on stage, and improv is much more about you give me something and I'll fill myself in with that. Whereas we're working backwards. We're going inside out.
Yes. Yeah.
Speaking of which, we did a show together. We did 2 shows together back to back, which was so weird because I hadn't seen you in a year. And then we had shows 2 nights in a row together.
In the pandemic. That was weird. Yeah.
And I got a chance to see your material about your mom dying.
Yeah.
And Jesus, you blew the room apart. It wasn't a room. You blew the outdoor space apart that we were performing at. I mean, it was a show I put together for St. Patrick's Day, and you were nice enough to come down and do it in Venice. And I mean, I knew a lot of people in the audience, and so like for days, people were talking about your set, about how.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
oh, wow.
It was just really. The material was so raw, but your handling of it made everybody comfortable and laugh and come through it on the other side with something. It was, stand-up can aspire to do a lot of things. And I think that what you're doing with that material is, it's really effective. It's really great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's weird, because I just did an outdoor show in Ventura. And I just realized, I was like, I need to perform more in front of, obviously you all need to perform in front of crowds because Zoom isn't giving you a right reading. And a lot of times the same people show up to Zoom that are sort of, maybe they follow you or they're into you already. And so you're not giving them new information. I said my mom died, everyone's like, yeah, we know, we followed. Right. But at this outdoor, it was in the parking lot of a pizza parlor, and it was pizza parlor audience, And I was like, my mom died, which is a setup to a joke. And everyone's like, oh my God. And I was like, oh boy, this is going to be a tough one I got to figure out how to deal with this response because I'm used to people knowing it and being like, yeah, what's next? Yeah.
Well, nobody knew we did it at a golf course, I should say. And this was a golf course crowd. So this was like, you know, it was a lot of Venetians who were sort of, I think there's an artist vibe to Venice. And so I think that they were able to take that premise and go like, all right, what do you got?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's just hit or miss. And I just want it to be hit. You know, you gotta feel it out and figure out when's the best time to drop this information or, you know, when to do this bit or, you know, do I need to do 20 minutes of porn jokes and then do my mom stuff just so everyone's relaxed, or is it the opposite? Who knows? Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's like that when you have gay comedians that talk about being gay on stage and, you know, if they're very flamboyant, if it's a flamboyant gay guy, he doesn't really need to bury the lead too much on that one. You know, but if you're somebody like, you remember Scott Kennedy?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, he was Scott great. Kennedy. He was great. And he was gay, but he wore sports jerseys and he was like he used to play football and he would wait like a good 10 minutes into his set and then he would just kind of casually do a joke about him being gay. And it was so great to see how he like kind of transitioned into that.
Yeah, he was so likable and relatable. Watching him, you know, keep the audience there, you know, half the crowd's like, yay. And everyone's like, other people are like, oh, what's going to happen? And he just sort of slowly would just calm their nerves and bring them in. And that was great. Right. He was great. Was he in the military too? Or did
he used to do a lot of those USO shows?
Yeah.
That's why you think he was in the military. Because, and he said that he'd be in like, you know, Saudi Arabia walking through a military base. And it was don't ask, don't tell. And he would look at certain soldiers and they would look at him. And he's like, the gaydar is so strong on a military base. And they would just look at each other and there would just be like a little nod. And that was all you could do.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. That's so awful. Jeez. Unbelievable.
So when you're introducing this into a set, is it like, do you feel like that's when the set is really starting for you? Like, this is why I showed up tonight because I want to kind of get into this more than the other stuff?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, a part of me feel, you know, it's now I have a newer chunk about that stuff. Like I was maybe for the first couple months because she died of COVID. It was, you know, COVID related and it felt like very, it felt topical. My mom's death felt topical, which is weird. Yeah. And now it's more just dealing with death as opposed to dying of the COVID pandemic during COVID, you know? So now it's like, it's turning into kind of more regular sort of death material. But those are my favorite jokes to tell, you know? Because I feel like if you like these, you're going to like everything, you know?
Right. Well, and now you need to stay topical. You need to like adopt a kid at the border who gets separated from you, maybe.
Yes. Or just drop my kid off. He's Latino. Let's put him in a cage for a little bit.
Yeah, you got separated from him at the mall. You can talk about being... You don't have to mention that you hid from him while you were there.
And that he drove me there. I won't bring that up. Sometimes too many details ruins a joke.
Yeah, right. So what is the next step? Because you wrote, when your dad died, you wrote a book about it, right? Dead People Suck?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know that I have a lot more insight into death than I did after he died. Like, again, my mom gets the shrift in life. Like my dad died, she got a book and he got a book and she's getting like 5 to 7 minutes, maybe. So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, it's, I think as COVID starts to end, which I hope, you know, I don't know. Every time I go on Drudge, it seems different. Like now the WHO said that infection rate is at an all-time high. That's worldwide. I'm like, is this ending or not? Or what? I don't know what it is, but either you know, maybe as it ends for Americans, at least there'll be some different feelings that I haven't anticipated, you know, because she was Deborah Birx, that CDC bitch who held water for Trump, said, well, the first 100,000, you know, that would have happened. Yeah. And then I looked at when we hit 100,000 and it was like 3 weeks before my mom got it. So I'm like, oh, okay. So if she hadn't got COVID, she might be dead anyway, because she was in really bad health. But it's just, you know, the way that she died really was so awful. You know, alone in a hospital room. And she knew she was alone. Like, she was aware enough to know when I visited her, I was allowed to visit her for an hour, my sister and I. So she knew we were there then. And then we left. You know, it's just bad. So maybe that will bring up some other stuff. I'm not really sure. Yeah. It's different when, you know, different parents die, you're going to have different response to it as well, you know?
Right.
And my mom was tricky, although she lived with me. She lived here in this room that I just had remodeled.
No kidding.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe, I think some other things will still bubble up, but I don't really know.
How did your mom end up living with you? Was she unwell, and so she needed help?
It wasn't great. She was okay, but she was staying in the house that she and my dad lived in and not leaving it. And it was like getting darker and darker in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also I needed help with my son. I needed someone to watch him while I did spots, basically. Yeah. So she came down for that, you know, and she needed to be around him. She needed to be around anybody. She was just turning into someone that just stayed indoors and watched Fox News. So it helped. And I think her best friend told me it was a really good thing. And so, cause we would fight too. And I was like, am I ruining her old age by having these fights with her? But
right.
I don't know. It's hard to, I think being around people is better than being shut in by yourself, even if sometimes it's your daughter that's fighting with you because she can't stand your politics.
Yeah. I mean, when it's politics, it's tough because it's not even about you. It's not even about what your relationship is with each other. It's about this other thing you're both projecting feelings onto. Yeah. So you're not ever really resolving anything.
True. I mean, we tried going to therapy. You know, we went to like 6 sessions, and then her hip popped out of its socket, so she couldn't go anymore. But
I can just see her in her room yanking her leg.
I don't want to talk to this lady anymore. Yeah, she'd never been to therapy, and she had led one of those lives that would have greatly benefited from therapy from like age 10 on. Yeah. So, it wasn't her nature. So it was, I think with an old person too, there's always the hope that they change a little bit, or that as they get towards closer to death, they have revelations. And actually, I don't think that happens that much. I think that's some sort of promise that, you know, a movie can give you, is that you can resolve things before someone dies. And it doesn't, I'm not sure that happens a lot. Like, I don't know, but my dad and I didn't have issues, so nothing had to be resolved. And my mom and I had a ton of issues, and none of them were resolved to my satisfaction.
My friend has and I'll tell you who it is off the air because you know who she is. Mm-hmm. And she has a mother who is famous in the comedy world, and she's very difficult. And she moved in with them for childcare, like to help out with their son. Mm-hmm. But she is a nightmare. Yeah. And so her husband, who didn't get along with her, started writing essays about her, and he published a book, and the book did very well. And to this day, the mother has no idea that there's a book written about her by her son-in-law.
Oh my God. Oh my God. That's amazing. Wow.
Yes. Wow. Yeah.
I love it.
I mean, I wrote a book about my dad basically after he died. So it is a nice way to process things because it forces you to sit with, you know, stages of your relationship, and kind of sometimes you can get some meaning out of it. You can get maybe some empathy for them from, you know, that creative process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just miss those times. I miss, being able to go home for Christmas. And I resent being like, oh, that's my job now.
Yeah.
I got to get the Christmas tree. I'm the one that maybe my son will come home too soon. And I liked being a daughter. I liked knowing I had someone to care for me and take care of me. And there's no one right now because I'm single, but I'm just like, I'm the caretaker. I'm in charge of everything. And I don't like it. It's not the way I want to be, but oh well.
Yeah. You're an orphan now. That's a big deal.
Yeah. I mean, I think real orphans would object to me, who had parents, both sets of parents still is 48, but yes, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, we were all still kids. We're all kids.
For sure.
So let's talk about, you've got some dates coming up. You're going to be in Glendale, Arizona, July 9th and 10th at Stir Crazy.
Yeah. Do you work that room?
I've never heard of it.
Oh, it's fun. It's owned by a comic, Tom Sims.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's a fun room. Yeah. It'll be like all of them, it'll be limited capacity and stuff.
Right.
Hopefully.
If they're even open by then, who knows? I mean, I think, what's the deal with like the store and the improv and everything? When are they scheduled to open?
I don't know. I know the HaHa is doing stuff in at their lounge, but they have they have an outdoor area.
Okay.
I don't know, like the improv, I don't know, maybe it's a pain in the ass where you have to get city permits to do a show. It seems like they would have a perfect location right in front of the lab, but maybe it's a nightmare. I don't know.
I don't understand. It's the same thing with the Comedy Store. They've got a nice big parking lot right behind the building.
Yes, and they have that huge patio too, which would be a great place to put the comics. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe someone speculated it would have something to do with your PPP loans or something, that if they're saying we can't do any business and then they started doing business.
Oh,
I have no idea. But it would, I don't know. I guess it'll be a moot point soon because they'll be able to open pretty soon, but none of and Flappers as well. And neither is Comedy and Magic. So none of like the big clubs are doing shows. So it's got to be some sort of thing with indoor seating.
Okay. Yeah.
That's my guess.
Okay. So, and then you're going to be in Alameda, California on July 16th and 17th, and then Laughs in Seattle, Washington, August 13th, 14th. Laughs, is that the one that's been around forever?
Yeah, it used to be Giggles, I think.
Okay. Right.
Yeah. It's not Fox's room. It's Dave and Angela. I forget their last name.
Fox was crazy, right?
I've worked for him my entire career. So but I think whatever scene you start out in, there's a booker you're like, that, people say is crazy. You're like, I figured this guy out. I'm okay. So Fox he's his own guy,
Yeah, right.
But, there's still fun gigs. I haven't worked the underground in a long time, but he still comes up with gigs every now and again,
Nice.
Yeah.
We're back out there. I can't wait.
Yeah, me too. Do you have stuff coming up?
Yeah, I'm going to be in Philly this weekend. And then next weekend, I'm going to be in Kansas City.
Oh, cool.
And then I got nothing. Now I got to call my agent and go, I think I'm ready. I'm ready to go back.
Yeah, it's the money is not the same.
Nope.
Part of me is like, I'm currently have a writing job, so I'm very lucky. For comics that are exclusively touring for money, I'm just like, oh God, this year's going to be really hard too,
Yeah, it is. It's going to be tough. And then you can't sell your merch after the shows. I mean, I guess you could, but I wouldn't. That seems like you're asking for trouble.
That's trouble. And then, you have like Russell Peters is working Wise Guys. So you're having, like stadium people, stadium comics are working in little clubs.
Yeah.
Ryan Regan is working clubs I've never even heard of in Florida. I was like, damn, this is,
I know.
If you can't promise to fill 30% of the room.
You're right.
The other thing too is like, Jackie Fabulous was telling me she was talking when she mentioned some crowd interaction she had, and the entire crowd was childless. And I wonder if the people coming back to clubs are going to be like 30 and younger, which is fine, but it's, I do have material that would appeal to like parents, but maybe parents aren't going to want to be out until their kids get vaccinated. I mean, I feel like that. Like, I don't want to accidentally, transmit it to my son if that's possible. So maybe the audiences are going to be different for a year or two as well.
Yeah, it could be. I think I do think there's going to be some system where you show your ID that you've been vaccinated to get in.
That'd be great.
I look forward to that. I think that'll make everybody relax a lot.
Totally. Mm-hmm.
Did you get shot yet?
I did. I'm double Moderna'd. I'm ready.
I'm double Moderna'd also.
Yeah. Did you have much of a reaction?
I got it at noon and I felt fine. I played golf the next morning. And then on the last hole, all of a sudden I got like flu-y and I went home and I slept all day. And then in the morning I was good. How about you?
I just had sore arm and a headache, but nothing real bad.
Women get it more, I think. I think they get symptoms more often.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
It sucks because people tend to only post when they feel like shit. And I think it's scaring other people from getting it because they don't want to feel like that.
Right.
I understand, I guess.
Yeah,
but.
I know. There's so much more I want to talk to you about, but we got to go. We have a writer's meeting in 12 minutes. All right. So just to wrap up, bring us up to date on Conan. What's the, I'm sure you get asked this all the time because that show seems to be in flux a little bit. What's the future?
I mean, it's going off the air June 24th. It's our last show.
So sad.
Yeah, I think it's going to be, we're going to have audiences back in the theater by then though. So at least the last 2 weeks of shows won't be on Zoom, which is like, thank God.
Right.
That's kind of all I know. It has a deal perhaps with HBO Max, and then we'll find out, we'll see what happens with that. But as of now, it's all ending on June 24th.
Wow.
Yeah.
But you've been writing on the show for how many years?
Almost 11 years.
So this is the first real break you'll have had in a while.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking kids are such a great way to mark time, and like my son was in preschool when I started and he's about to go into high school.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So
wow.
Weird. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I'm sure you're looking forward to a fun summer.
Sure. Vaccine
you got your
summer.
pool back there behind you.
Got the pool, got some gigs lined up. Why not?
All right. All right, Laurie, thank you so much. And we're going to tell people if they want to see, get your book. It's available. It's called Dead People Suck. It's on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, IndieBound, a bunch of different places.
Yeah. You could order it from me at kilmartin.com. It's $25 and then I'll sign it to you if you want.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got a few copies in the garage.
Yeah, I bet you do. I bet you do. I might have a few in my attic. Just a couple. I'd have to look for them. Oh, wait, there's 9 boxes right there. I have eyes on my books. So sign up, guys. All right, get them while they're hot. All right. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Thanks, Greg.
Thanks for doing this.
Sure. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.